To the UNICEF Executive Director, Ms. Fo, for making it possible for BTS, who are recognized as UNICEF's Goodwill Ambassadors for the Generation Unlimited partnership, to be with us here today. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary General, UNICEF Executive Director, and all the excellencies and distinguished guests from across the world. My name is Kim Namjoon, also known as RM, the leader of the group BTS. It is an incredible honor to be invited to an occasion with such significance for today's young generation. Last November, BTS launched the Love Myself campaign with UNICEF, building on our belief that true love first begins with loving myself. We've been partnering with UNICEF's End Violence program to protect children and young people all over the world from violence. And our fans have become a major part of this campaign with their action and with their enthusiasm. We truly have the best fans in the world. And I'd like to begin by talking about myself. I was born in Ilsan, a city near Seoul, South Korea. It is a really beautiful place with a lake, hills, and even an annual flower festival. I spent a very happy childhood there, and I was just an ordinary boy. I used to look up at the night sky and wonder, and I used to dream the dreams of a boy. I used to imagine that I was a superhero who could save the world. And in an intro to one of our early albums, there's a line that says, "My heart stopped when I was maybe 9 or 10. Looking back, I think that's when I began to worry about what other people thought of me and starting seeing myself through their eyes. I stopped looking up at the night skies, the stars. I stopped daydreaming. Instead, I just tried to jam myself into the malls that other people made. Soon, I began to shut out my own voice and started to listen to the voices of others. No one called out my name, and neither did I. My heart stopped and my eyes closed shut. So, like this, we all lost our names. We became like ghosts. But I had one sanctuary, and that was music. There was a small voice inside of me that said, "Wake up, man, and listen to yourself." But it took me quite a long time to hear music calling my real name. Even after making the decision to join BTS, there were a lot of hurdles. Some people might not believe, but most people thought we were hopeless. And sometimes I just wanted to quit. But I think I was very lucky that I didn't give it all up. And I'm sure that I and we will keep stumbling and falling like this. BTS has become artists performing in those huge stadiums and selling millions of albums right now, but I am still an ordinary 24-year-old guy. If there's anything that I've achieved, it was only possible that I have my other BTS members right by my side, and because of the love and the support that our ARMY fans all over the world made for us. And maybe I made a mistake yesterday, but yesterday's me is still me. Today, I am who I am with all of my faults and my mistakes. Tomorrow, I might be a tiny bit wiser, and that'd be me too. These faults and mistakes are what I am, making up the brightest stars in the constellation of my life. I have come to love myself for who I am, for who I was, and for who I hope to become. I like to say the one last thing. After releasing our Love Yourself albums and launching the Love Myself campaign We started to hear remarkable stories from our fans all over the world, how our message helped them overcome their hardships in life and start loving themselves. Those stories constantly remind us of our responsibility. So let's take all one more step. We have learned to love ourselves. So now I urge you to speak yourself. I like to ask all of you, what is your name? What excites you and makes your heart beat? Tell me your story. I want to hear your voice. I want to hear your conviction. No matter who you are, where you're from, your skin color, your gender identity, just speak yourself. Find your name and find your voice by speaking yourself. I'm Kim Namjoon and also RM of BTS. I'm an idol and I'm an artist from a small town in Korea. Like most people, I've made many and plenty mistakes in my life. I have many faults and I have many more fears, but I'm gonna embrace myself as hard as I can. And I'm starting to love myself gradually, just little by little. What is your name? Speak yourself. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. With so many young fans around the world, it was a pleasure having BTS with us, and I'm thankful that you use your platform and creativity to reach young audiences with positive messages about what it means to be a young person in the world today.
All right, that was the Korean pop band group BTS talking at the UN General Assembly, all in a big effort of outreach to youth. And I am lucky to have with me Jeff Benjamin, K-pop columnist from Billboard magazine. Jeff, thank you so much for being on with us.
Thank you. It's such an exciting day.
A little bit about this moment. I mean, this is a history-making moment, really. A K-pop band at the UN General Assembly. Why is this so important?
Yeah, I mean, how many, first of all, musicians, celebrities get to speak at the people in the world get to speak at the UN in general? This is just a huge moment, in particular, and like you said, a history-making moment for BTS. But you know, I think it's two-folded in why it's so important. On one hand, BTS is here as a representative of their really successful UNICEF campaign, the Love Myself campaign, that's already raised over $1 million in less than a year. On one hand, they're showing that, yes, we have brought a success to UNICEF. We've brought success to the world. We found something, this anti-violence campaign that we're a part of. We really can represent ourselves in that way. But on the other hand, too, you know, we were kind of watching the speeches before, and there were a lot of young people speaking. BTS is one of the biggest bands in the world, biggest artists in the world. They have 2 #1 albums on the Billboard 200 just this year alone. They have, I think, over 15 million Twitter followers. They're huge on social media. They really do represent kind of a band that, even though they're based in South Korea, they can be globally successful and they can have successes around the world, reach so many different people. So on the other hand, I think they're saying that, yes, this is the youth. This is a representative of youth and someone that really can speak to what young people are going through today.
Yeah, I mean, they may have their origins in K-pop, but they definitely have become global superstars in their own right.
Oh my gosh. I mean, take away even like the K-pop tags, you know, they're going to be, of course, on Good Morning America later this week, but they're performing at Citi Field Stadium later in October, actually. Who's played Citi Field lately? It's been Lady Gaga, it's been Beyonce and Jay-Z. You know, take away they're surpassing their K-pop genre tag.
Oh yeah, and they've performed at pretty much every award show over the past, year or two. So they're definitely making an impression, and they've got the followers to prove it and the fan base to prove it. What are they hoping to do with that fan base and now this new initiative?
Yeah, I think in particular, you know, the fact that they have so many young connected people around the world to kind of be able to not just put the, you know, of course monetary donations are important. BTS, of course, they've actually made a really big statement when it comes to monetary investments in this campaign. 3% of their physical album sales are going to the campaign. I believe their record label, Big Hit Entertainment, donated a hefty sum to the campaign as well. But I think it goes deeper than just money, too. The idea that, you know, loving oneself and feeling self-actualized, feeling self-seen, feeling self-realized, kind of like what RM Kim Namjoon was speaking a bit about in saying that he realized who he was and he realized his dreams and what he looked forward to when he was a little boy. I think realizing that is how you get away from sort of any type of self-loathing or self-pain or self-hatred you might have, and that if you truly do love yourself, you're going to spread that positivity, that love, that those good feelings, and that's how we kind of make a better, you know, more positive world in that way. So on one hand, of course, you know, donations, being able to donate to create education opportunities or be able to help with jobs for young people is really, really important. But I also think BTS, from their music to their speeches, you know, to whatever they might share in general, it comes down to their ultimate message too. And I think that is just as impactful these days, especially as how connected we are in this world.
But it's not just about a message, it sounds like. You know, it's not just about, oh, you should feel good about yourself. It's we are going out and we are advocating on behalf of and stepping in to defend victims of violence around the world.
Yes, no, exactly. And a big campaign of the End Violence campaign is focused on school sexual and domestic assault victims. And they really are, BTS from the get-go of their career have always made sure to look out for marginalized communities, whether that's been going to communities and meeting with young people or meeting with old people, donating rice to those less fortunate. BTS has always made a really big point in their careers to always give back to those people that might feel marginalized, might feel lesser than accepted. It also goes back to their music. In their music, they use a lot of androgynous terms and use a lot of universal symbolism, so that no matter if you speak English, Korean, Spanish, whatever it might be, if you love men, women, anything in between, is that you can find a real connection and something to find really hopeful in the music itself. So they're thinking about everyone, but specifically, of course, this campaign is looking for those people who have been affected by violence and making the statement that yes, let's end violence.
Well, and it's interesting because you know, half the songs on the radio now, you can't even play them without bleeping out half the words. I mean, the
Sure.
message isn't always so positive in the music that's popular, and their music has historically been very positive, very uplifting, very inspiring. So it's kind of cool to see them now take that and, you know, quite literally put their money where their mouth is, but also sort of continue to spread the message that they have been trying to spread through their music.
You said it perfectly. They really did put their money where their mouth is. I mean, even from their earliest albums, you know, kind of, they were always a good representation of what people their age were going through. Their earlier music kind of focused a bit more on school life and bullying and kind of trying to navigate one's life through that. But at the same time, their music just got more complex, more interesting, more deeper in sort of the topics they went into. They've talked about everything from politics to female empowerment to mental health issues, things that young people these days really are going through, and anything that, regardless of where you are in the world or who you might be interested in, you know, musically, there is something that you can connect to in that music for sure.
Well, great to see them using their immense influence in the world, using those powers for good, and we are so incredibly honored to have them coming on Good Morning America on Wednesday. BTS will be performing live in studio. You do not want to miss